Joined now by Carl Larry. He's the director and principal consultant for oil and gas at Frost Sullivan. Let's start with Roey's last point. You know, there's these accusations flying that the U.S. is behind this. There's some kind of conspiracy. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, there's some truth to that. I don't know if it's as deep a conspiracy as most people want to believe, but we've imported over 1 million barrels of Saudi crude oil the last 8 weeks in a row, and that's not something that we've done since 2014. So the timing is really just odd that we're seeing the Saudis pulling the trigger here on saying we don't want to have any production freeze, yet they're the ones who are dominating the imports to the U.S. right now.
Talk to me about the spat between longtime rivals, Saudi Arabia and Iran. We've talked about that quite a bit. How do you see that shaking out, especially with Iran basically boxed out of the marketplace for so long because of the sanctions, saying that they don't want to make any moves until they can reclaim some of the market share they lost?
That's right. And see, here's the thing. The Saudis have said this a while ago as oil prices are dropping, that we're going to see a loss of investment into future production. So a lot of money is headed into Iran there. A lot of foreign money is headed in there, knowing that the production in Iran is really very good and it has a really a good chance to make money going into the future. That's pulling a lot of money away from Saudi Arabia, and that's probably what's really stepping on their toes right now. They want to see that money come back into their country, and right now it's headed to Iran.
Venezuela and Ecuador are reeling from all of this. Their economy's not doing very well, closely tied to oil production. Talk to us about winners and losers as a result of all of this.
Well, you know, the losers here are definitely a lot of these countries from OPEC. So we have, as you mentioned, Ecuador, Venezuela, Nigeria is struggling. Libya is having issues also. Any country right now that's in OPEC that's not producing at the top of their production level is struggling economically, and they can't really afford to hold production where it's at with these prices under $50 or under $60 even going forward. So we're going to see not just maybe a lot of pressure to break up OPEC at some point very soon, but we're going to have issues economically for these countries that do produce oil.
That was going to be my next question for you. The next meeting is in June. Do we expect a change, or is this the end of OPEC as we know it?
We're getting very close to the end of OPEC. Before, when OPEC was viable, again, it was Saudi Arabia that was the swing producer. They either increased or decreased to help everybody out. But now they're not helping anybody out, and that's really just causing a lot of a very big rift here among OPEC members. So going forward, as we see some economies failing, it could be where there's just not any support system left in OPEC to be part of that cartel anymore.
So is it every man for himself, in a sense? I mean, are we going to see these countries just kind of cutting their own kind of deals?
Yeah, it seems that way because we're pretty much there already, and we're seeing that happen. And I think that's part of the reason also that Saudis are saying that we're going to do what we want to do because everybody else is doing what they want to do. So they don't want to get left out, especially with oil prices this depressed. Everybody needs to make as much money as they can to keep their economies viable. And right now, that's all for themselves right now.
Carl Larry, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.